The most narcissistic athlete in the history of all sports, decided to call up the NBA again and tell them now that he has, I think, made the most field goals in the history of the NBA, which is clearly a compiling stat, that he wants a new patch. And the NBA that is now run by LeBron James apparently said, yes, sir, no problem, sir. And in LeBron's next game, he's going to be wearing a patch that says all-time leader made.
He called the league, and the league said yes. That is where this story actually starts. Not with the patch itself, not with the record, with the phone call, with the request, with the fact that one player decided that breaking a record was not enough, that the achievement needed to be visible, wearable, readable on his chest while the ball was live and the game was still being played. And the league that represents every player and every legacy in the history of this sport looked at that request and gave its approval without hesitation or pushback of any kind. LeBron James is now the only player in NBA history to wear achievement patches on his jersey during actual games. Not at a ceremony honoring the milestone, not during a pregame tribute, during the game. While opponents are guarding him, while the broadcast is rolling and cameras are finding him on every possession. His jersey has become a moving announcement board for his own statistical accomplishments. And the question nobody wants to answer directly is simple. Why does he need that? But here is the part everyone keeps glossing over. He is not wearing patches for all of his records. LeBron James holds the all-time record for most turnovers in NBA history. No player has given the ball away more times than him. He also ranks near the very top of all-time missed field goals. Those are records too. Same career, same longevity, same volume. But there is no patch for those. Only the flattering ones make it onto the jersey. Only the ones that read well on national television get stitched onto his chest. That selective celebration tells you everything you actually need to know about what this is really about.
His second patch of the year. He's not going to wear a patch that says most missed field goals, which he also has the record for. He's not going to wear a patch that says most turnovers in the history of basketball, which he also has the record for. But he is going to wear a patch, a one of one, that says most field.
Let that sit for a second. The same career that produced the field goals record also produced the all-time turnovers record. Same longevity, same 22 years. No patch for that one. No patch for all-time missed field goals either. Another record sitting in the same stat sheet. The jersey only carries the achievements that photograph well, the ones that read clean on a broadcast. The unflattering records stay off the fabric entirely. That is not celebrating history. That is curating it, carefully, publicly, one patch at a time.
Jokic gives it away. Doncic lob it up. LeBron James! Big finish! Run the floor here. Clever from Luka. Holds an extra dribble.
That finish looked clean. The broadcast celebrated it. And somewhere on that jersey, visible to every camera in the building, was the patch. Think about what the viewer is actually watching in that moment, not just a basketball play. A 41-year-old man finishing at the rim wearing an achievement badge that no player in this sport's history ever wore before him. The game is happening. The action is real. But stitched right onto the uniform is a permanent reminder that this moment belongs to a legacy being actively managed in real time. LeBron did not demand the patch. He made a request. And that distinction matters more than people are giving it credit for, because a demand can be refused. A request gets evaluated. And when the NBA evaluated this one, an idea that had never existed across decades of professional basketball, they approved it, quietly, quickly, without any public debate about what it meant for the culture of the league or the players who came before and never needed anything like it. That approval is the real story sitting underneath all of this.
You might ask me the question, Big Mac. Did John Stockton wear a patch when he became the all-time NBA assist leader? He didn't. When Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the all-time points leader in NBA history, which he did he wear a patch?
My guess would be no, he didn't.
Yeah, when Michael Jordan did everything, did he ever wear a patch?
I don't believe so.
Magic Johnson ever wear a patch?
I don't think so.
No. Charles Barkley ever wear a patch?
No.
No. But LeBron James is now on his second patch, honoring himself. And that's the guy a lot of you view as your king and the greatest of all time. At what point does it become embarrassing that he demands these things and the NBA says
0? That is the answer for every name in that list, not one of them. Not across 6 championships, not across 11 rings, not across the single greatest individual scoring run in the history of this sport. Not one of those players ever felt the need to carry their accomplishments onto the floor stitched into the fabric of their uniform, and that was not a rule. Nobody told them they could not have a patch. The option simply never occurred to them as something worth pursuing. Because the record itself was enough. The ring was enough. The performance was enough. Their greatness did not require a visual reminder on their chest during live action to feel complete. LeBron James is on his second one. That gap between every legend who came before and the one player who decided he needed this is not a small detail you can explain away with context. It is the entire argument. And the fact that the NBA said yes both times without hesitation, without public debate, says just as much about this league as it does about the man wearing the patches.
And you know, he's wearing a new patch now. You can see it has number 23 on it. And that'll signify his 23rd season in the NBA. Now you see the patch that says 23, all-time record number of years playing in the NBA, signifies that. Of course, an accomplishment that LeBron is very, very proud of.
A patch for longevity, for simply still being here, not for a championship, not for a finals MVP, not for a performance that changed a series or a moment that nobody in that building will ever forget. A patch because he has played 23 seasons, because he has kept showing up long enough that the number itself became the milestone worth celebrating. And the broadcast described it like it was the most natural thing in the world. But step back and think about what this logic actually opens up. If longevity gets a patch, if years of service get stitched onto the jersey during live games, then where exactly does the list stop? Most turnovers in NBA history, that record belongs to the same player. Most missed field goals, same player. Same career, same 23 seasons. By the same logic that put the field goals patch and the longevity patch on that jersey. Every single one of those records qualifies. The jersey is not a uniform anymore. It is a running document, a personal archive being updated in real time while the game is still happening around it. And the most uncomfortable part of all of this is still coming.
John Stockton with 11 assists. They're on their feet. A new NBA assist king of the NBA.
Most of all, I want to thank my teammates. They're all thankfully they're all standing back here. I tell you, they were going to make sure the record happened. It wasn't me, and there were some unbelievable shots tonight.
On behalf of 22,000 people here and 1.9 million people around the state to declare today John Stockton Day in Utah.
He said it wasn't him. Standing in front of 22,000 people, arena on its feet. One of the most significant individual records in the history of professional basketball just broken. Cameras everywhere. The entire moment his to own completely. And John Stockton pointed away from himself. He said his teammates were going to make sure it happened. He said they made unbelievable plays. He redirected every single piece of that moment toward the people who stood beside him on the floor. No patch. No personal announcement board. No request made to the league to commemorate what he had just accomplished. Just a player saying out loud that greatness is not something one person builds alone. That is the standard this sport operated under for decades, not because the league enforced it, not because the culture demanded it publicly, because the players who reached those heights were genuinely confident enough in what they had built that they did not need anything extra to confirm it. Their records spoke. Their teammates remembered. The arena stood up. No patches required.
51, 10, and 9 in 37 minutes.
And he's going out of the game. He took a intentional foul.
So he's not chasing numbers.
Wasn't it? He's not chasing numbers.
Not chasing that.
It's staff. Want to put in some. Now that they feel that he's got to 50 or whatever, and the Lakers are up, they need some stops now.
31 shots, 17 makes. How about that? Luka's 51 come with only 8 free throws made in the game.
51 points, double-digit rebounds, 9 assists. 1 assist away from one of the most historic stat lines this season has produced. And Luka Doncic asked to come out. Not because his body gave out. Not because the coach pulled him. Because the game was already won and there was no reason left to be on the floor. He was 1 possession away from completing something that would have been talked about for years. J.J. Redick was ready to leave him in. Nobody in that building would have questioned it. Luka said no. Take me out. We won. That is enough. No patch on his jersey. No phone call to the league requesting recognition. No staying in a decided game to chase a personal milestone. Just a player who delivered something extraordinary, watched his team win, and sat down because the mission was finished. That is the contrast this entire conversation has been building toward. One player turns his jersey into a personal achievement board and stays on the floor in blowouts chasing numbers. The other leaves a historic triple-double on the table because winning was always the only point. The patches do not add to the legacy. They add to the conversation around the legacy. And right now that conversation is saying something that no patch can fix.